brother Bentzedek Bentora, who is bringing educational and informative video. Before I start, I'll let you know this disclaimer. I am not an attorney nor a lawyer, never practiced law, never have I, neither will I ever do so. Um, I'm going to share this information for we the people, okay? Because only we the people could make a change in this system. And today's topic is about the United States Republic. Okay, different. To summarize it, a democracy came from the Greco-Roman word demo, which means model. Okay, so democracy, the model or majority rule. What we have here is a republic. Okay, it's a republican government, and it's stated so by the framers in Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Republic Constitution. It states clearly, every state in the Union is guaranteed a republican form of government. Now, what is a republican form of government? By their creator with certain unalienable rights. These are the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To preserve these rights, government were derived from July 4th, 1776. So what they were saying here, and their correct consent, a government by consent. In other words, if the people does not side of that is tyrannical. What is a tyrant does not by the rule of law. They force their will as a dictatorship upon the people. But this is a republic form of government, and it's very important. The United States Constitution came from the Magna Carta. If you Google the Magna Carta, what it was a document that was drafted by the clergy and the women of England in the year 1215 AD or 1215 CE, the common. And it was signed by King John on June 15, 1215. Okay. Number 30 is paraphrasing. No free man can lose his property, his life, etc., without a trial by a jury of his peers. That's where we get the term jury of our peers from. United States Republican form of government, it's broken up into the executive and the judiciary branch. We the people, power to the lawmakers. They are the political power. They enforce the law. Okay, and the third branch, separate but equal also, is the judiciary branch, which is have to do with the courts. So this is how it works. The people authority to legislators to laws, the power, but the legislative branch, the executive branch is within the confines of the Constitution. So it's like a check and balance between all three branches of government. As Thomas Jefferson once said, if they don't do that, that set up a recipe for tyrannical form of government. Okay. Many of the people do not know their rights. What is rights? Like a creator. They're not given to us by man. Man is our unalienable duty. It's an unalienable duty. Okay? Meaning no one could transfer rights. Only we could waive it. And sometimes people waive it for benefits. But only we waive our rights. It cannot be heard away by anyone at any time. Okay? The word justice. We often hear people say, oh, I need justice, I want justice, and I want justice, give me justice. Well, the word justice came from the biblical Hebrew term Zedek. Somebody make a righteous or a right ruling based upon justice. Also, justice also have to do with repair, okay? For example, when somebody has been done wrong, we the people are supposed to correct it and make them whole. That's what justice is. So it's righteous ruling, and if harm has been done to somebody, we're supposed to restore them. That's what justice is. Okay, so that's our very simple. Do not do to others as you will not have them done unto you. Also, if somebody was injured, they're supposed to be repaired. Okay? That's it. It's a crime. Common law or natural law. A crime is murder. Murder is a crime universally from that time. Um, um, physical harm, intentional physical harm, theft in the form of cheat, natural law. Okay, what we have today, the system from the lawyers code, which is the full of codes and statute regulations. And the problem with statutes, codes, and regulations are this: statutes are normally for what they call legal societies or corporations. They're known as bylaws. Once a corporation is formed, a corporation has to have its rules. So these rules are bylaws. Bylaws for the corporation. So they apply for only those people who are within or consent to the authority or the jurisdiction of that corporation. So what happens as time goes by, the lawyers, or the American Bar Association, they brought forth these statutes and they kind of force it without the consent. And people in prison right now, their lives are destroyed because of statutes and codes which have nothing to do with laws. Okay, these were put in place by groups that have their own agendas. So because of that, a lot of innocent people fall victims to these statutes, and they're in prison now. A lot of them are on probation. Their families are being destroyed. And sometimes for stupid statutes that have nothing to do with natural common law. And like I said at the beginning of this video, we the people did not give them any such authority to write these things. They get this authority from the international bankers. And we're going to come to that shortly, okay, and see the influence what the banking system has been doing in destroying the people's right in America and around the world. Okay, only we the people. When I say we the people, we the collective group of people. It doesn't matter our nationality, our color, our creed, our religious belief, but as a people, we have to band together, stand together. It doesn't matter our color, it doesn't matter our language, whatever. We have to unite as one people to stop this demonic system. Okay. I have friends, for example, who are lawyers, and a lot of lawyers are decent, nice people. Okay. The profession in itself is demonic. Okay. In 1950, 81st Congress, that's when we had the Congress. They investigated the Lawyers Guild, from where the American Bar Association sprung from. And the 81st Congress investigated and determined the American Bar Association is a communist organization that does not have the best interests of the American people. And they're correct. Why? Because a lot of these statutes and codes, guess what? They're written by the American Bar Association. Okay, it doesn't matter what state they're in. Each state has its own bar club. Okay, and they're joined to the National American Bar Association. They're the ones who write these statutes and codes that are imprisoning the American people. Remember, people, we the people, our rights did not come from the government. The government is supposed to be a group of people that we select from our rights to govern and protect our rights and go about our daily course of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, that's what government is. And the government can only function through our authority. Anything outside of that is tyranny. Okay. And the framers are very, very, very clear about this. They did not want a tyrannical form of government. They wanted a government of, for, and by the people. Okay, it's very simple. And what happened, the Constitution, like I said, our rights does not come from the Constitution. What the Constitution is, it's a set of documents. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments are known as the Bill of Rights. What the Constitution, Bill of Rights, is just there to protect unalienable rights, our natural common law rights that came from our Creator. Okay? Now, the American Bar Association, it has done, it has infiltrated all three branches of government. Okay? We have lawyers now who are in the legislative branch of government. We have lawyers who are in the executive branch of government now, and we have lawyers who are in the judiciary branch of government. Now, what is dangerous and it's not good is because when the framers set up the Constitution, three equal but separate form of government. It was for a check and balance type of system. Okay, the legislative keep an eye on the executive and on the judiciary. The executive keep an eye up on the legislative and the judiciary. The judiciary keep an eye up on the legislative and the executive. Okay, in other words, no one person can work in two separate branches at the same time. In other words, there's no jump in the fence. It's either your legislative, executive, or judiciary. What had happened though, when the lawyers came here, they somehow infiltrate all three branches of government. Okay, check that out. All three branches of government, the very same thing that the framers were trying to avoid, is happening right now. So they have infested the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch as a cancer. And that's why people are suffering right now as I speak through these millions of statutes, codes, and regulations that is actually destroying lives. Okay? America have the biggest prison population in the world. And a lot of those people who are in prison, they're in there because they have some code. Sometimes some petty codes like somebody been caught with some marijuana. Goodness gracious, a plant, and they're in prison. Can you believe that? That's obviously not what the Almighty intended, and so on and so forth. There are even situations where people are in prison because of debt. Let me give you an example. Child support, let's use this as an example. I'm in Florida right now, and Texas, they have laws that protect the people from imprisonment of debt, DEBT, okay? But what these evil beings does, they use codes and statutes to try to get around it. What they'll do, for example, in child support, they'll tell somebody that they refuse to pay or they don't have to pay. What they do sometimes, they hold them in what is called contempt of court. Now, there's a problem with that. Number one, child support is not court. It's not a part of the court. Why? Because it calls for a single and separate unit. It has separate mean it's by itself. Okay? So this organizational unit, it has to be single separate from the court, single and separate from the legislative body. Okay? It's housed under the United States Department of Health and Human Services, which is under the executive branch of government. Okay, it is not a part of the court. Very, very clear. Now, how they get away with it, this is this. Under 45 CFR 302.34, known as the corporate agreement, the Title for the agency, they make contract with counties, and there are many contracts, okay? And part of this contract, they have contract with like the court. Think about that. If it was a court, why would they have contract with courts? They have contracts with courts, with judges for magistrate services, with probation, with sheriff departments, etc. All these are constitutionally elected officers. These people that the child support industry have a contract with, they're all constitutional elected officers, meaning they swear an oath to protect and defend the people's unalienable right. Yet still they violate them for contract. Okay, so I'm just saying this to say what they do when people cannot pay, they'll say to them, look, you're in contempt of court. Remember, it is not a court. That's number one. It's executive. Executive and judiciary are two different branches of government. No one can work in both at the same time. So what they do, they tell the people that they hold them in contempt, and then they arrest them illegally, unlawfully, violating them, trespassing upon their freedom. Then they hold them for what is called a purge, meaning the person have paid some money before they could get out. They call it the person hold the key to their freedom. Okay, that is unconstitutional. That statute is abominable. It is unlawful. Yet still they get away with it for the most part because we the people doesn't know. As a matter of fact, many people are now waking up to this fraud. Okay, no one can be imprisoned for debt. DEBT, no one. Okay, this was outlawed in America in the 19th century, and in ancient times, during the time of the Romans, etc., and the Egyptians, people could be arrested, sold into slavery, their families taken. if they get around this with codes and violate people's right. And the sad thing is, we the people sometimes doesn't have anybody to go to get redress. Because when the the Amendment 1 protects the people's right to redress the government for grievance. Now the problem is when the people go to the government for grievance, for example, they go to the higher courts. Sometimes the higher courts are ruling in favor of the lower courts because guess what? The same bar attorneys that are in the lower courts, they are also in the higher courts. So the corruption and the cancer spreads. So that's why a lot of people are suffering and cannot get any justice. Only we, the people, can put a stop to this corruption. Okay. Another thing they do, for example, with this unlawful status and which is CPS, Child Protective Service. I call it Child Pimp Service. And the reason being, a lot of time, or most of the time, how it operates in violation of people's rights. For example, CPS, just like Title 4D under Title 4E, okay, it gets by the federal government. It's a multi-billion-dollar business, okay? So because of that, there's no trial by jury, but trial by jury. And the reason why the framers did that, they didn't want one person to decide a person's life, or a person's freedom. So they did as a body, or the peer, the people's peers, people who know about their car. Let them be the judge of these people. So that's why there's only two kind of jurisdiction in the sense that there's criminal and there's civil. If it's not civil, it's criminal. If it's not criminal, it's civil in court. What happened under the Sixth Amendment? The Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution, it protects the people's right to a trial by jury. Okay, so in the criminal proceeding, the accused have the right to a trial by jury. In the Seventh Amendment, now it says in suits at common law, where the value of controversy exceeds $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved. So anything over $20, that's a controversy between two people or more, they are guaranteed right of a trial by jury. Now this is what these evil tyrants did. With CPS, when last have you heard of somebody getting a trial by jury? It does not happen. Why? Because if there was they try to get rid of that defense that the people have by removing the trial by jury. Where in the Constitution does it say that they could take away the people's right? No, it doesn't exist. They can't. It's non-transferable. These people who claim that they're government workers, they swear an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, yet still they violate it every day, as if it doesn't exist. Okay? Why they do this? Because each state put in some type of bar statute. Okay? And these statutes violate the Constitution. The bottom line is this. The Constitution, under what is known as the Supremacy Clause of Article 6 states, and I'm just paraphrasing, this Constitution and the last pursuant shall be the supreme law of the land. Every judge in every state, very simple. What this is saying, every judge, doesn't matter what state they're in, are bound by the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution. Okay? Whether they're whether the government workers in the legislative branch, whether in the executive branch, or whether they're in the judiciary branch, they're bound by oath to the supremacy of the Constitution. The thing contrary is notwithstanding. The word contrary means contradicts or against. So anything that they write or put in place that is against the Constitution have no standing. And standing is what a party must have before they could bring forth a case. So if they do not have standing, they do not have a case. And if whatever they're bringing forth or charging the person is with, if it's against, say you can, and they make a statute say you can't, the Constitution prevails every time, and that statute is null and void that say you can. So it's very, 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 very simple. Okay, very, very simple. But they make this thing kind of like try to make it complicated. That oftentimes people think, "Oh my gosh, I need a lawyer. I need a lawyer to defend myself." No, that was not the intent of common law. Common law, like I said, just means common sense law. If something wrong is done to somebody, they need to be restored back to a good state before they were injured. That's how plain and simple it is. Like I said, these corporations, they make these bylaws, these statutes, and these codes, and they force it on the people. Let me give you an example. Walmart is a corporation. Walmart have its sets of rules or bylaws. These bylaws um, are enforced upon the employees of Walmart. And these employees of Walmart, they went to Walmart and they applied. They voluntarily applied for a job. When they get the job, they have to fill out and sign agreement to the Walmart, policy. The word policy means interest. So whatever Walmart's policy is, once you start to work there, you agree to the terms that govern Walmart. So that's Walmart's bylaws. Those are like statutes. Okay, those laws doesn't apply to people on the outside who doesn't contract to work with Walmart. If you see where I'm going with this. So it's the same thing. Let's use the state of. There are 50 states in America, okay? And yet there are 100. What do I mean by that? There are 50 corporate states and there are 50 geographical states. So each state have two. Let me give you an example. The state of New York is different from New York State. The state of Texas is different from Texas State. The state of Florida is different from Florida State. The state of Maine is different from Maine State. Why? Once the state of, that's a corporation. Okay? I'm going to come back to that in a second. And you have the United States Corporation. The United States Corporation is a foreign British company that was doing business overseas. Okay? There. As a matter of fact, if you look at 28 USC, 28 of the United States, 15 A's in Apple, it will tell you the United States is, let's say, 770 and A9 and A10. It tells us that the United States is in the District of Columbia. Also, UCC, Uniform Commercial Code 9-307, is the District of Columbia. That 10 square mile up on the Potomac River, that's the seat for the court to consent to it. And the consent to it through the Buck Act. Okay, look up the Buck Act. Okay, that's how the United States Corporation stretches its tentacle from DC, the District of Columbia, within different states. Okay, study my people and learn these things. That's all we have. For example, in Florida or Texas, for example, if you go inside of a post office, even though that post office is in a physical geographical state, that post office is upon the United States territory. Okay, means that's the corporate territory. What happened was this. In February of 1871, there's an act for a district, okay, known as the District of Columbia. That's where the United States became a municipal corporation, okay, of the District of Columbia. And that's why the government do things through business. It's a corporate government, okay? The government of corporation will tell you that. So back to when I said there's 100 states, 50 geographical states and 50 corporate states. For example, the state of Florida, like I said, is a corporation. The state of Maine is a corporation. How does this work? Very simple. The republic is different. The republic is a rule of constitutional law government by consent. Okay. In a lot of these so-called states, the people are being oppressed by statutes and codes that they did not consent to. As a matter of fact, they're even against a lot of them because they're hurting the people. But guess what? They turn a blind eye. Okay, they do not care. Okay, people must understand. It's very simple. If you don't learn anything from this video, learn this. Anything under the supremacy is null and void. Marbury versus Madden. It is the most push something down your throat and it's against the Constitution. It's null and void. It doesn't happen, no matter what they're telling you. Okay, it does not exist because it's null and void, and they swear to uphold it. Another thing that we see they're doing is, let me give you another unconstitutional in somebody. You can't lie somebody to the braid. It's a natural right. Now a license cannot be licensed. Number one. Number two, no attorney, no, doesn't have a license. I have friends who are lawyers. Guess what? They cannot produce a license. What they show me is a bar membership card. With a bar membership, you have to join the club. You join the club with a membership card and you pay dues. That's what the American Bar Association is in every state. The state bar is the same thing. One joined this organization, which is a private company from the Inns of Court of Britain in London, England. When you membership and you get a membership card, that's it. There's no such thing as a license. So when somebody is charged for unlicensed practice of law, then if that's the case, every lawyer and attorney should be charged because none of them have a license. Number two, to show this statute is also unconstitutional and immoral. The framers, when they came, when in the Sixth Amendment, they states clearly, they say in all criminal proceeding, the accused have the right to the assistance of counsel. Simply means somebody to help, okay? To counsel them. What is a counsel? Anybody who somebody trusts that could give them advice, who the accused is confident that have more knowledge than them, the accused, that could help them. That's a counsel to them, okay? Now, this was this was like about 1790. Operated in New York on August 21st, 1878. I'm getting at is this. In the Sixth Amendment, when the framers talk about referring to a bar attorney, because there was no bar attorney in America at that time. What they were referring to is anybody that the accused felt comfortable in assisting them in their case, they have a right to do that. Okay? So after August 21st, 1878, the bar started to say, well, bar attorney back then, when they were September 24th, 1789, if we look at Statute 78, Section 5, it states clearly that in all courts in the United States, a litigant could do their cases 1 out of 3 days by themselves or by assistance of counsel. 78 and 5. The Judiciary Act, the first Judiciary Act, September 24th, 1789, 3 ways a litigant do their case in all courts in the United States: by self, we call it sui juris, or by assistance of an attorney, or, 3 ways they could do it: by self, or by assistance of counsel, or by an attorney. So notice, self-made could do it themselves, or by assistance of. The third one is or by an attorney. Notice it separates assistance of counsel from an attorney. Okay, and his neighbor next door have some more knowledge than him, maybe read more about the topic and could help him. Tom could go to his neighbor and say, look, buddy, I need your help. And he helped us. Okay, we have to keep this within ourselves. And all of us in this bar thing will benefit if we make some type of statute that we can keep this conclusively within the club. Okay, that's what it's all about. This not only violate the Constitution and common law and common sense, it also violate the free enterprise, where America is supposed to be a republic where people could honestly make whatever they choose to do, as long as they are not harmed on within the attorney, the bar association. But that's their profession, and I respect that. A man have to protect where he eats. I understand that, but a lot of them know talking about that. There's a lot of corruption in it, and there's a lot of things that is not right, and it's putting a strain upon the American people, and it's actually destroying the republic. Okay, happily. Now, I know some people, like us, have people who are so-called of the African descent or dark skin. They'll say stuff like, yeah, but that constitution is not for me, man. It's for the white man. That's not the point. The point is, whether it's constitutional was put in place, the so-called black man, he was considered 3/5 of a human. That's not where we get our rights from. Our rights is superior to that. Our rights came from the Almighty. what the Constitution does, it just protects a lot of these unalienable rights that existed long before there was a Constitution. So that's why we stand by it. And not only that, most of the things they protect common sense and natural law, and stuff like that. Another example, the grand jury, for example. The grand jury is found under the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution. What the grand jury is, it was a system that the framers put in place where if somebody is charged for certain type of crime, capital or infamous crime, must be indicted by a grand jury before the capital crime or infamous crime, unless on presentment or indictment. Government just prosecute anybody at any time for whatever nefarious act that they have against the individual. So what the framers did, they put in place the grand jury, which is the first line of defense for, in other words, the person is accused of crime, a real crime, like common crime, like murder, theft, stealing, anything like that. What happens is this: the prosecutor is supposed to take all the evidence that he have. He meets with the grand jury an indictment, and then the grand jury, they're going to look at it and see if Tom do anything that is a real crime that the Constitution does not protect. And if they see that Tom actually enough evidence that Tom committed a crime, then they'll come back with an indictment and say, yes, go forward with this. If they look at it and they say, wait a minute, Tom didn't do anything wrong. Whatsoever Tom did here is protected by the Constitution. They have the power to end it right there. That's why the grand jury was put in place. Or what we start to see, people are accused of infamous crimes, and their grand jury right is ignored. They just take that out of the way, and the prosecutor says, I make the decision. No grand jury is involved here. That is unconstitutional. Why? Because it violates the common, and it don't use grand jury only for capital crime. That's not what the Constitution said. The Constitution's crime, if you look it up, is anyone in which the person is facing prison time. So once a person, the accused, is facing prison time, it's called an infamous crime. Therefore, the person must, they have to be indicted by a grand jury before the case goes on. So when a prosecutor comes and says, well, we don't do this state, guess what? That state and that prosecutor, they are violating and is not allowed void. Very, very simple. Also, the 14th Amendment, which is it's a controversy. However, it have arguments in it that says the right of the people, no state shall that will violate the rights and the privilege of the people. So what happened? No state in the law that's going to violate the Constitution. Okay, is that plain and simple, the privilege that the people have. So, like I said, know your rights, study, and like I said, this is a public announcement in the sense of information and sharing for we the people. So you have to do your further studies, and your eyes will be open. You will be shocked to see how many violations that occur against we the people, and you, the people, have no clue about the judge and the lawyers. You would sometimes know more than these lawmakers. I'm shocked to know how many people I talk to in high position that have no clue some of these things that I'm talking about. Yet still they swear an oath to them, and they are occupying offices that can influence people's lives, and they don't know anything about these laws that they swear to uphold. So like I said, American people for just standing up for the basic decent right, and it's wrong. For example, there shall be no sanction or penalty for the exercise of a constitutional protected right, where rights are concerned. There can be legislation that will abrogate them. Miranda versus Arizona, that's another powerful case law that protects people's rights. And Marbury versus Madison, like I said, 1803, any unconstitutional action or law is null and void. You end up for them, okay? Like they have this saying long time ago, What's the difference between a man who cannot read and a man who refused to read the book? Both of them are both ignorant. Okay? A man who cannot read, a man who refused to read, the both of them are the same in the sense that they're both ignorant. What sense is it for us to have rights and do not know those rights? Guess what? The enemy always take advantage of our ignorance, and they're gonna not only destroy us but our family. Because when we become a victim to this corrupt system, we're not a victim individually, but our families are a victim too. When some unlawfully locked up or sent in prison, their family go to prison because their families and their loved ones. Man, I hate, and I say that with a passion. I hate injustice. I don't care the color, the nationality, the status, rich, poor. I don't care about none of that. I hate. That's just my nature ever since I'm a little boy, and that's why I'm like this. Many times people ask me. I have people who say they want to sponsor me to become a lawyer. And I say, I will never do that. And I say, why I wouldn't do that? It's because if I become a lawyer, I will be limited in doing certain things. And that's and the chance that I have, I can't do that. Yes, there's a lot of people out there, but there's also a lot of decent, righteous, good-hearted people out there also. You understand? And I treat a person according to their conduct and their character. I don't think so we can protect each other. For example, years ago, I used to be like, I don't want to go on a jury. I used to hate that stuff. I say, I do not want to be involved in no life or whatever, right? And they do not have somebody there who could give them a fair trial. How will that person have a chance if they're innocent? And then I said to myself, what if I was that person? I'm a law-abiding person and I'm being tried by the way, and every decent, righteous person say, I am not trial jury. How to bring forth justice? Okay? You need to be there to bring forth justice. And from then I changed my mind. We, the people, we have the of injustice when we see them. We have the ability to speak out when we see injustice. Because guess what? Today for you, tomorrow for me. Today for me, tomorrow for you. Sometimes we have this tendency to say, you know what, that's not my business what's happening to that person over there. That's not my business. Excuse me. But guess what? From our business. There's a saying I hear years ago. It's interesting. The other people stand aside and say, I don't care, that's not my business. I'm not a Methodist. Then when they came for the Jews, a lot of people stand aside and say, I'm not a Jew, that's not my business. And then finally, when they come for you, there was nobody there to stand up for you. And that's what we're facing now. We're supposed to look out for each other, right? If somebody has done wrong, and the common law, meaning we have every do wrong, yes, they should pay and restore the person back. Constitutional statutes, which have nothing to do with law. As a matter of fact, before I finish, I said I was going to share about the bankers. Okay. Oh, Jay is eat. It's freezing up. What's freezing up? Uh, um, I don't know. Or maybe my computer. Maybe that's what Jay's eat is saying. I'm not sure. But anyway, the bankers. Let me tell you, the bankers are who run everything in the system. The international bankers. For example, the UN affords only 3 jurisdictions recognized, and they're all found in Article 3, Section 2. They are law and equity, and then the third one is admiralty jurisdiction. Okay, from ancient time, natural law, that's common law, common sense law. Then the next one is equity. The word equity means fairness. Okay, most civil cases are done in equity or fairness. The third one is admiralty jurisdiction. What is admiralty? Some admiralty jurisdiction have to do with military, maritime, and then you have sometimes they intertwine and talk about maritime admiralty. You hear that sometimes. Maritime admiralty just means water or the seas, and admiralty means military. So when they have maritime admiralty law or jurisdiction, it means laws of this military laws of the seas. That's the law that covers banking. Okay, during the time of the Romans, where the Romans put this law in place, maritime admiralty, so that they could try pirates on the high seas in international waters. That's where maritime admiralty law come from. It has to do with international law. Okay, that's why bank is under maritime. I don't know if you know this. Have you ever heard of the term bench warrant? When they say, "Oh, the judge put out a bench warrant." If you look into the Black's Law Dictionary, the word bench means bank. The only thing they spell it with a C, like BANC, but it means the same thing, because in ancient linguistic of English, C and K was used interchangeably, just like Y and I is used interchangeably, and S and Z sometimes. So bank, BANC, is the same as BANK. So the judge sits on the bank. The judge's seat is called a bank. So when it says the judge put out a bench warrant, the word warrant come from the Latin warranto, which means authority. So when you say bench warrant, it's actually in Latin bank warranto, warrant from the bank. And the word warrant also means authority. So when you say bench authority or bank authority, that's what it is, authority. Okay, to bring you in, because pay money to get out and bond, and the bond is certified and sold on the stock market, and it's all international. Yeah? And it goes on the bank running. All these laws then go right back to the banks. Okay, and that's one of the reasons a lot of people are losing their homes in foreclosures, because the banks run all of that, and the judges work for the banks. Okay, very, very important. It's all banks authority. Okay, the international bankers runs everything. And it's no coincidence that America is run by the Bank of England, which is run, as you know, by the Rothschilds, who are from London. It's from England, London, England. And it's no coincidence the Lawyers Guild, that's the grandfather for the American Bar Association. Guess what? From the Inns of Court. From where? You got it right. London again. So the banking system and the Inns of Court, they're London. The average person doesn't know this. What they do oftentimes, they use Hollywood to entertain. And don't get me wrong, I like my little entertainment every now and then. You know, we can't just live bored there, but we must do our homework first. And when I'm watching these Hollywood, whether music or TV, they're always messages, but many people see them because people are just looking at these movies or TV shows as just entertainment. They're more than entertainment. Okay, they are meant to send us message for us to control our mind, to get our mind in a certain. Look at the word magic in scripture. It means control. It means witchcraft. Okay, that's what Hollywood is. It is meant to use entertainment, so-called, to control the minds of the population. People are bombarded with Hollywood. Okay, people live their life off of the imagery of Hollywood. Okay, but it's set that way, or get the public's mind into like an acceptance role. So when the real thing comes, the people mind